whatever. It's a bit rude, isn't it? It's like, I broke everything, so just crack on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else are we supposed to do?
I didn't break it.
We could You're like, you touch the least amount as possible in order to break stuff. So it's not fair. You can't compare the two.
It's not my fault that I'm Charles Xavier and I can break shit with my mind. So how is that my fault? Oh, you victimizing me for being an X-Man? So
well, I'm more like Wolverine. I break everything. So
very true.
All right, here we are trying to make ourselves much cooler than we actually are. That makes total sense.
Pretending we're X-Men.
Right. All right, Noir fans, we're back again with another episode. This time we're going to be taking a look at a film that was suggested to us by a listener, Carlos Estevan. Thank you for the suggestion. We enjoyed checking out this film. And we're going to delve into that in just a few minutes. But first, let's look at what we're going to be drinking today. This one is particularly for this episode because there's one particular scene in this film where people sleep together, and I'm just like, what in the hell is happening? Like, why is this happening? So I picked this drink called Between the Sheets. Particularly for this episode.
So subtle.
Yeah.
So subtle.
This drink is a brandy drink, and my arch enemy, Contrai.
Oh, I like brandy.
Yeah.
And Contrai.
I see. I don't know. It's your accent makes it hard for me to understand what you're saying there.
Excuse me. You are saying it wrong, not me.
Right. I'm definitely saying it wrong. I'm not going to deny that. Contrai.
I think we would say like Contra. To bug off because you're making me not be able to say it right.
Daryl's going to love this. Daryl, if you're out there listening, I know you know what it is, and I know you know how to say it.
Please,
we need you to come on the show,
yes.
Daryl, just to explain to me how to pronunciate things.
I feel like Daryl should be our pronunciation.
Yeah, we need a sidekick here just to chime in.
Quality control is what we will say.
Yeah, it seems like, Jason, it's Contro.
Yep.
And then that's it. That's all we need him for.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so here we go. Between the Sheets. It's a half ounce of... No, sorry. Scratch that. It's 1.5 ounces of brandy, 1 ounce of rum, a half ounce of Contro, whatever.
Insert Daryl pronouncing it correctly.
We're just going to have a voiceover. A half ounce of simple syrup. It's our crushed up bugs, according to Street.
Yeah.
A half ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. This might be actually pretty good. I'm going to check this one out.
Yeah, if we can take out the crushed bugs.
Yeah, I don't have any brandy right now. I drank it all the other day, so I can't really make this. Actually, I don't think I have any rum either.
Because you drank a lot the other day as well.
Time for a trip to the store.
It's all done.
So with this drink, you add ice and water to a cocktail glass to chill the glass. Add ice to the tin side of a Boston shaker. In the mixing glass, add brandy, rum, Cointreau, lemon juice, and simple syrup. Pour the contents of the mixing glass into the ice tin and secure the glass to the tin. Shake the contents until the ice sounds different and the contents are cold. Open the Boston shaker, empty the cocktail glass, then strain the contents of the shaker into the empty glass and serve. I feel like they're all made the same. I don't even know. I don't have to read this anymore, right, folks? I'll say this is another Boston shaker drink, so do that.
I feel like when this is all over, we should set up like a cocktail bar, which is just like the ice is going to sound different. Put it in a Boston shaker. Here's some crushed bugs. I mean, there's your beer.
So here's what we're going to do. The next episode that we do, I'm going to have all the ingredients in front of me. All right? And I'm going to make the drink on air. All right? So we can hear the ice difference.
Please, I want to see the ice difference as well.
The thing that I fear is that I'm going to be shaking this damn thing for like a half an hour waiting for the ice to change sounds, and it's not going to happen. And we're never going to finish the episode. Or my arms are going to fall. I don't know what, but...
I mean, well, that's a fucking treat for the listeners, isn't it? The next episode, Jason's shaking ice for half an hour.
It's going to suck because, people will skip the commercials at the beginning of an episode and they're going to skip it till all they hear is... And it's going to go on for like 10 minutes. And they'll be like, what the hell is happening?
Oh, God, maybe I'm sick that day. I don't think I can do that episode. That one's just you.
Yeah, it'll just be clack, 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 and Carly just cackling in the background.
I'm cackling now. Just at the thought of it, I'm cackling now.
All right, so here we go, guys. We're going to be talking about the film Point Blank, and here is the trailer.
Walker is an emotional and primitive man.
Do you remember when we met? Suddenly, we were together.
Lee Marvin is Walker, the hunter and the hunted.
Are you crazy?
You ever meet Walker?
He makes my flesh crawl.
What do you really want? I really want my money. I want my 93 grand. I want my money.
Even deserted Alcatraz Island is not immune to Walker's vengeance.
You're a very bad man, Walker, a very destructive man. Why do you run around doing things like this?
Feel the blast of emotions at Point Blank range.
What do you want from me, Walker? You're supposed to be dead.
Know the mental agony that overwhelms and consumes at Point Blank range. Experience rapid-fire action at Point Blank range.
Things aren't done this way anymore, Walker. Let's be reasonable.
Have you got like a brand called Galahad over there? Oh, okay. It's amazing.
It's because we're not British.
Yeah. You suck balls. It costs like £2 and it is so nice.
$2 for like a 6-pack or what?
£2, so that's like what? $1.50 for 4.
For 4. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So nice. Actually genuinely tastes nice.
All right. All right. That was the trailer for Point Blank, which is a 1967 film directed by John Boorman. It's starring Lee Marvin, co-starring Angie Dickinson, Keenan Wen, and Carol O'Connor. It was adapted from a 1963 crime noir pulp novel. Pulp? Man, I need speech therapy. It was adapted. It was adapted from a 1963 crime noir pulp novel, The Hunter, by Donald E. Westlake. But he was using a pen name, which was Richard Stark. Interesting. Boorman directed the film at Marvin's request, and Marvin played a central role in the film's development. The film was not a box office success in 1967. But it has gone on to become a bit of a cult classic. The film was also recently, well, not necessarily recently, but 4 years ago, it was deemed culturally historical or aesthetically significant. by the United States Library of Congress. And it was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. We seem to be covering a lot of films that were selected for the National Film Registry, which is cool. I think that's awesome. This film, this is a tough one because it's I don't even know how to begin with this one. It's
very tricky.
It is. It's very of its time, 60s psychedelic kind of movie. So much so, like the first half hour, I'm literally like, what the fuck is happening? Like I don't know. I didn't know what I was watching really. Was this real? Is it like the way time passes in this movie and the way that it's shot, at least in the first part of it, is really strange and different. And at the time, I know that was probably okay and it made sense because we're talking about the 60s and, that sort of culture.
Yeah, it's got like the look of kind of like a gritty cop drama of the 60s, 70s. But at the same time, there's so many moments of just like almost Neo Noir, like when they're in the bathtub and he drops all the perfume in there and it just makes this weird kind of crazy mix of colours. And there's so many scenes that are like film noir, but it's kind of just wrapped up in this psychedelic bundle of madness.
See, I would have considered that one more of the madness of the 60s and the psychedelic, the colors and the swirls and the weird stuff like that. Very much was a juxtaposition to me to when he's in the nightclub with the crazy red lights like shining on his face and like going crazy. That to me was more that than necessarily noir. But there are definitely noir factors to this film. There's the guy who's double crossed. His wife is taken.
Yeah, you've got like the false woman, you've got double crossing, revenge, ambiguous ending, you've got everything for a film noir.
And I mean,
oh, can I do my synopsis in a nutshell?
Oh yes, how could we possibly have forgotten that? Carly.
I mean, how damn rude.
Yeah, how damn it. Just giving you fuel. All right. So Carly, if you could give us your super special
famous
yeah, okay, super, yeah, whatever, just fucking do it.
Okay, you ready? Okay,
ready.
So,
ready.
After being double crossed and left for dead, the original Terminator brings down a crime syndicate without ever killing any members.
You're getting weirder and weirder.
I know.
It was Van Damme before, and now it's the Terminator.
I'm lost in the world. I'm gone.
Oh my gosh. I would have said like the original Charles Bronson.
I was going to go with that, but actually he's a fucking Terminator, man. I mean, shots just bounce off him, so he is made of metal, so
people just fly off buildings when he's around.
Yeah, exactly. But he never fucking kills anyone, so
well, he kind of killed that dude.
Well, yeah, we kind of didn't though. So bit ambiguous. Again, film noir-y, bit ambiguous.
It's true. All right. He definitely would have been a suspect.
Yeah, he was on the top 10.
Oh boy.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if I liked it, but it was interesting. It was interesting as the 39 steps. I'll put it. No, I'm kidding. It was good. It was different. This film starts off in such a strange avant-garde kind of way, almost as if still pictures. It almost felt like it was like a photography session than really the opening of a film. Like it felt like so much of the composition was, more about capturing these images necessarily than what was happening, because it was very convoluted and not explained well as like what's happening. You eventually kind of get it, but it was definitely strange, and it has some interesting photography, just some weirdness, and that's very much the 60s in a lot of ways. when it comes to film. They were doing things different. They were experimenting. They were trying new things and new ways of storytelling. And I get that. And in today's sort of like film going, experience, things are very, very different, and audiences are not as inclined to accept the weirdness, the strangeness, the different ways of storytelling. And I can only imagine, like, being a filmmaker back then, how freeing and liberating that would really be to be as a filmmaker, to have that freedom to do that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that it all makes sense or is, great, but there's definitely a respect to the style of filmmaking and how they were telling the story, because it really throws you. See,
that's very interesting, because I think it all makes sense if you accept the fact that he's dead.
Well,
or dying.
Yeah, I see that aspect to it. But I also think it was more about the hyper reality and the sort of drug induced culture of the time. Because if you notice throughout this movie, everybody's taking drugs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whether it's street drugs or pharmaceuticals, like, everybody's got a pill bottle on their nightstand. And that was one of the main things I noticed, like, right off the bat. Like, this must have been that period of time where it's like it became completely acceptable to medicate. Not necessarily just, for fun, for partying or that sort of thing, but also to try to make your life better, to escape realities, to, not feel stressed.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, escaping reality. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody that needed to kind of escape a trauma was taking drugs.
Yeah. Even our main bad guy, Carter, there's a scene where he's talking and he just casually walks over and takes a couple pills. We don't know what the hell they are. He could be, whatever. He's got a heart problem. I don't know. But with everything else that's going on, it's like everybody's medicating some way. And it was pretty interesting to sort of see that on screen in that way and it not be a big deal. It's just what's happening. This is the culture kind of thing. It's not like it's made out to be good or bad or anything. It was just there. Yeah. But then you have the craziness that's the 60s and the nightclub and the lights and the go-go dancers and the Motown singer and like all these different sort of like almost like a boiling pot of cultures in a way, which I thought was really cool and really interesting, but really fucking weird. Yeah. It was just like, it's so out there and strange. And then he's like breaking legs and, hurting people. And
what I found was so interesting was like the soundtrack and the music was just so like it got in your bones.
Yeah,
it was when you were watching it, the soundtrack and the music and the FX and everything like that was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack myself. I feel like I'm in the freaking club.
and it's funny that you bring that up because my son had walked in while I was watching towards the end of it, and he's a musician. He's in band and jazz and, does a bunch of different things with like orchestral instruments and whatnot. And he was really interested in the soundtrack and I don't like it. I thought it was terrible. So I'm watching it, and then that's just me, like 60s and 70s movies in particularly. I think the soundtracks are not everything, but a lot of them are just so overbearing and over the top. And I'm not a huge fan of them. And if I am, it's usually like horror films that I like the most when it comes to soundtracks. So this one like grated on me. This was like, I didn't care for the soundtrack. But speaking of the nightclub, we have a gentleman in there on stage and that just cracked me up, man. He's up there screaming and nonsense. And then he's doing this little crowd interaction thing where he has one of the actors, sort of repeat after me or like continue doing whatever. And it cracked me up. I thought it was so hysterical. But
do you know what I thought was the most hysterical thing?
What's that?
When he tortured the car salesman.
Yeah.
Like when he is like, oh, I feel like I want to buy this car, and then he takes him out on a fucking ride and completely destroys the car. I mean, my God, man, that car was worth the money. It took some fucking battering. Buy the damn car because you rammed it into 18 different things and it's still going.
It's like crazy.
Buy the car. Buy the fucking car.
It was completely a Dirty Harry moment. It was like, what is he doing? I'm like, he's either going to get arrested. I mean, this movie's over.
That was genuinely, I think, maybe my favourite scene of the whole film. Torturing that guy in the car, like, oh, let's go for a spin. And then just smashes it into every available thing that he can. And the car is still going. He's like, oh, well, we'll still go. Yeah. Forwards, backwards, left, right. He was, I thought that was brilliant. And the guy was so upset that his car was getting, like, smashed to smithereens. That is the best way to torture somebody. Smash that car up.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I loved it, honestly. That was my favourite scene, I think, of the whole film was that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like that scene too. It was fun.
I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, he does take us for a ride in this movie.
He does, definitely.
Yeah. There, I was completely thrown with early in the film with his wife. He comes back and he obviously is like thinking that his wife is, betting the guy that, tried to shoot and kill him. And so he just like busts through the door, throws her to the ground, starts shooting up the bedroom, thinking he's probably in there, right? Which is completely ridiculous, But I
don't know. It depends if you're a nutcase or not.
Right. I mean, it's like he got it into his head. This guy is laying in bed. He could have been anywhere in the house.
Yeah, it seemed like 9 o'clock in the morning. He's probably not in bed, but
yeah, whatever. It was just weird. And then he's like, oh, he's not here. Oh, okay. And then, causes her to have a mental breakdown, take sleeping pills and kill herself. Now, it just all of a sudden seemed like time passed weirdly at that moment. Like he walks out, she's dead. And then he walks into another room and then all of a sudden all the furniture is gone in the room. And it was just like, what is happening? Like, and at that point it's like, okay, is this a dream? Is this all fake? I started to lose grasp on what was real and what wasn't. And I think that was sort of the effectiveness of this being a movie of the 60s. And sort of keeping you on your toes as to what's going, what's real and what's not. But it did start to kind of come together. You do start to sort of like get a stronger grasp on things. And it sort of has that twist ending, once you get to the end. Like the whole entire movie basically is not his reality. In a real standpoint, everything that he's doing, he thinks he's doing for his cause, but he's actually a puppet on strings, doing the bidding of someone else and just doesn't realize it. And I thought that was pretty interesting sort of concept there that they did. So, hey, Carla, let's take a break real quick and talk to our listeners about our sponsors. Hey Noir fans, Jason here from Speakeasy Noircast. So when Carly and I started looking for solutions for our podcast, we discovered there were way too many options available. We almost gave up looking for the right fit and came close to forking over a bunch of money for one size fits all type of solution. Then I stumbled upon Anchor FM. Not only is this amazing service free, but we can record and edit our podcast directly from Anchor FM or even on our phone when we're on the go. That alone saves us a ton of money and time. But there are several other major benefits to using Anchor FM that makes it the perfect fit for us. Anchor has a built-in solution for distributing our podcast to all the major outlets, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just about anything else you can think of. You no longer have to submit your RSS feed to every single service in existence just to get your episode to your fans. And talking about money again, like I said, Anchor is absolutely free. And Anchor FM will even help you to make some cold hard cash right from the very beginning. Anchor FM has a unique advertising podcasting platform that doesn't require a minimum listenership. So right out the gate, you can start making some money. So let's put it in perspective. Anchor FM is free, everything you need to make a podcast in one place, instant distribution, and they'll help you make some money right from the start. So if you've been struggling to find the perfect platform for your podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. After you finish this episode, of course. All right, guys, we're back and we're going to keep talking about this film. It's a bit of a slow film, though. As much as action is in this film, there's periods of just drawn out stuff to me that, again, it's very 60s in that way. But really, I think the film would have been stronger because it's not a short film. It would have been much stronger had they cut out a lot of the nonsense, because it didn't really like connect to anything. It was just drawn out for the sake of it. But it gets going in its own way. But then there's some weird stuff after it really gets going. Like when he starts looking for the guy that shot him and took his wife or whatever. When he teams up with his wife's sister, basically, is when things really start to kind of take off for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that relationship between the two of them that they had. Like, especially when she, like, beats the crap out of him and then sets everything off in the fuck. I mean, I have said before, Frank Sinatra is my spirit animal. She's my spirit animal. She trumps Frank Sinatra, setting everything else in the house off to drive him insane. Yes, girl.
But why? Like, I didn't understand it. I thought there
was no reason to it, but I just thought, yes, girl, you don't take his crap. You set everything off.
What crap did he give her? That's what I don't understand. Like, that scene was so ridiculous. That's why I picked this week's drink, is because between the shit, it's like all of a sudden she's beating the shit out of him. He's like, I don't care. And he sits down and watches TV. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. But why did she start hitting him?
I did like that scene though, where they weren't even talking, but the whole kind of like dialogue was spoken through what he was watching on TV, which I thought was incredible. I can't say that I've ever seen that before in a film.
I must not have really caught that.
Yeah, no, when they're like having their little
no, I know the moment you're talking about, but I didn't really catch the conversation with the TV. And
he puts the TV on, and he's flicking through the channels, and the dialogue that is on the TV is kind of what he would say to her.
Interesting. Yeah.
I genuinely thought that was freaking brilliant.
I'm going to have to rewatch. I definitely am going to have to rewatch this film because it's something you really need to kind of pay attention to. Not kind of, you do need to pay attention to it. Because that's one of the things that I probably missed. And maybe I got up and got another cup of coffee or whatever. I don't know. But that whole scene to me is just weird. Like, I didn't understand why all of a sudden she's pissed at him and starts beating him up, why they don't say anything to each other. And then the next thing you know, they're having sex. And it's just like, what? It's just like, I don't know. It was just weird, but you found a moment in that scene that's just kind of like, that was amazing. Whatever. If they did use the TV as his dialogue sort of stand-in, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
I genuinely think that scene was great. Yeah. I thought it was so clever to use an object to display dialogue that they're not having. Mm-hmm. And that was, I thought it was great. When I watched it, I thought, I wish I could do something like that. I thought, well, thumbs down for me. But no, I did. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you probably can. You just have to do it. And yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do it now.
Good. Awesome. Yeah. So and then I think actually before that is when he infiltrates the Hunters Club or Hunt's Club, which Huntley, I can't remember the name of the building, but I think it was a direct reference to the novel, The Hunter. When he infiltrates that, sneaks in at night. She poses as like, being interested in the guy and goes up to sleep with him as like a sort of smoke screen to get him into the building, or not. Actually, that's not the smoke screen, but that keeps him occupied. He calls the police and calls in something that's across the street, which creates a smoke screen to let him into the building. And so he gets up there pretty easily. There's a few little funny moments, like the elevator opening with the little henchmen standing there in front of him, but with their backs turned, and then the door's closing as soon as they turn around, kind of thing. They don't catch him, but he breaks in to the guy's room, drags him out of bed. His men outside are like, "Hey, you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he does it in such a quiet voice, but then instantly the dude starts dragging him into the living room, which isn't quiet. And the guy's like, being loud and stuff. And his men don't even like say anything. It's like,
well, maybe they think it's just like sexy time,
Yeah.
Oh, they're making some, if he wants to snort like a pig or whatever, just go with it.
All right,
It's the boss. We
I don't
can't
know, are
get
you
involved.
throwing her around the room into objects?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's the boss. We can't get involved, so let him do it.
I don't know. I thought that was hilarious, though. Just like, I don't know. And then they have the little tussle, and he accidentally throws him off the top of the building.
Whoopsie.
in the worst like green screen, building fall. But it was still fun. It's still a fun like moment. Maybe that's why she was mad at him. Maybe that's why she beat him up, because he put her in that position to like have to whore herself out to like get him in there to get what he wanted, sort of thing. I don't know. I couldn't connect.
And then
that.
he didn't even care, sort of thing.
Yeah, that could have been it, but I don't know. But, and then we progress, and, he thinks he's getting his money a couple times and he doesn't. It's just paper and this and that. And then the person he's after, or the person that's going to give him the money, the boss of the guy that he just threw off the building, Carter, I guess is going to meet him down by the, reservoir or whatever it is, give him the money. And then he gets shot by a sniper. And that's kind of like, okay, what the hell is going on, sort of thing. Doesn't explain it until you get to the end of the movie. We get to the end of the movie and we find out this guy that's been helping him along this whole time turns out to be
A scoundrel.
Yeah, not necessarily a bad guy towards, our lead character, Walker, but somebody that's using him to get what he wants. And doesn't necessarily give a shit if Walker gets what he wants, other than the fact that he's like, "Hey, you're pretty good at what you do. Let me recruit you," kind of thing. I think his original intention was probably to kill Walker. Like Walker was going to come out, take the money, the sniper would kill Walker, but Walker was smart enough to not show his face, and just like leave things be, because I think Walker, I know that there's this pretense through the whole movie that he wants the money. But I think the revenge and taking out everybody was probably enough for him, at that point. And probably whatever was in that package was not money anyways, because everybody leaves it behind. And that would have been like, the third time there would have been a package filled with paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think at that point, he's just like, screw it. I'm not getting my cash. Everybody's dead now. Or maybe, there's a Point Blank 2 where he gets to take care of this. What's his name? Fox or I can't remember the guy's name. But anyway, I thought the ending of this film was so beautifully shot. I don't know where they're at in that scene where the guy from what the heck was that sitcom? Archie Bunker? That's who that actor was, right?
I have no idea.
I played Archie Bunker. Okay. Anyway, the actor at the end of this movie, goes to meet him with the money. And it's in this like sort of courtyard sort of area. It's just so wonderfully shot and lit. It's so beautiful. And I think this is the strong suit of this film. I really loved it from a cinematography standpoint. I just thought it was amazing. And I wish we could see more of that sort of stuff in today's film. where they really care about the surrounding, like the shot choices and the lighting. And that was very, very noir. Like the end of this film is very noir in terms of style. It was just so beautiful. And that, when I got to that point and finished the film, it made me appreciate this film much more than I had previously, and made me want to go back and rewatch it and sort of delve in and really pay attention to the nuances and not miss anything. Cause I don't care for like the whole 60s drug psychedelic sort of stuff. It doesn't speak to me. I was never into drugs like that, and didn't really, it just wasn't part of my culture. Like, I didn't grow up on those films either. It was before my time, and I can appreciate them. There's definitely ones that I appreciate and like and enjoy and respect. And I think this might end up being one of them, but it's not quite there yet. Yeah. Because I really think that this film, for me, deserves a second, maybe even a third view. Because there's a lot going on, and it's told in such a way that is jarring and makes, it just makes for a film you really have to, watch, I think, more than once. And that's probably why it didn't do well when it first came out. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to watch it, once or twice more before I truly decide. I'm going to give it a rating today, but I really think that needs to happen before I truly give it a rating of like what I really feel about this film.
Yeah, it attacks all the senses, doesn't it? This film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It really does. And it doesn't do like it, even though it hits on that, like, cause like a lot of films become what you would call dated because they have those sort of look of the time. Like, for instance, if you look at like a Planet of the Apes, right? It has like people are wearing bell bottoms and the patent leather and like whatever, you know what I mean? Like the clothing and the hairstyles, things like that. It becomes dated. And this film kind of has that, obviously because it was made in the 60s, but there's more, there's good filmmaking in there somewhere. It's just, I just think that the 60s psychedelic sort of thing takes over too much. At least right now anyways. Like I would really love, like I'm excited at this point to watch the remake too, because I haven't watched it yet. A friend of mine wrote it. But I haven't watched it yet, and I want to see it, and I want to see what they took from the original, and how they updated it, kind of thing. It'd be interesting to delve into that.
I'm trying to figure out right now if the person that I thought I saw is Ryan O'Neal or not.
What, like in this movie?
Yeah. So when he takes her for a date in the weird like fast food place, and there's a couple, and I'm pretty sure it's Ryan O'Neal that sat there like sipping on a milkshake, but I'm trying to figure it out.
I don't know. You're going to be happy when we watch the remake, though, because it stars Frank Grillo, your favorite boyfriend.
Gosh, yes.
Ugh.
I'm going to be, 10 out of 10 done already. Podcast episode done, 10 out of 10. Frank was amazing.
Ryan O'Neal is not listed in the credits, but that doesn't mean he wasn't.
No, I know, but it looks so much freaking like him. It's got to be him. Looks so much like him. It's got to be him.
I don't know. So Carly, let's give this movie a rating. Curious what you're going to give this.
Oh God, it's hard. This is a very hard one for me because, even though I didn't necessarily enjoy the film,
mm-hmm.
I very much enjoyed all the processes behind the film. I very much enjoyed the imagery and what, I don't want to say what they were trying to do because that's incorrect, because they did it. It's very tricky. I think I'd probably comfortably settle on a 7.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think I'd settle on a 7 out of 10. Simply because I would never watch this film again, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I've kind of learned that myself. Like, whether you watch a movie again or not doesn't necessarily mean that it was a bad film.
Exactly. I wouldn't watch it again, but that doesn't. It's not a bad film. I found lots of things that they tried to do with it so interesting, and I feel the ambiguity of it is just so interesting. The performances, everything like that was on par, and I think it's all of them are just brilliant. There's something that I struggle with it, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't feel that I can rate this movie yet. I'm going to give it a halfway rating.
You can't not rate it.
Well, I'm going to rate it, but only because I have to. Because I truly feel like I need to watch it more than once. I think I need to watch this like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I feel like it needs a couple of views to get an accurate review. Yeah.
And not because it's like a complicated story. I think it's just because of the way that it's been told, the time period that the movie took place, and having to take that into account and kind of looking at like as a whole in the bigger picture of it.
I think you need more time with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one of those films that you need to have a couple of views to truly appreciate all of the amazing aspects that went into it. And on a first view, you don't get them all. Right.
Yeah, I think you're spending too much time trying to figure out what the hell is happening.
Yes.
That you're missing the subtleties and the stuff that probably makes it a great film. And again, I think that might be why it didn't do well on its initial release, and over the years has become more of a cult kind of film. And that makes a lot of sense. And again, that doesn't necessarily make it a bad film. It just makes it one of those types of films that you need, it demands more viewing.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do. But right now, because of that, I'm going to only give it a 5. Okay. But this is not a reflection of the film itself. This is just a reflection of my lack of, viewing, I don't even know what to call it.
Prowess.
Yeah. I was not a great viewer when it came to this film. I didn't expect what I saw, and it threw me off. Like when this movie was suggested, I was expecting something to be Neo Noir, crime thriller-ish sort of thing. I didn't do a lot of research on the film before I watched it, and maybe I should have, because I wasn't prepared for watching it. I really wasn't. I turned this thing on and I'm just sitting there going like, what the hell am I watching? What is happening? It constantly.
It's very much an attack of like all of the senses.
Right. In a very strange way. Like you don't. Which
is amazing. The fact that it can like get into every aspect of your senses.
Right. So with that being said, this movie commands my attention. Like I'm going to have to sit down. I'm going to have to watch this again and fully experience it in a, quiet environment that I can really pay attention to it. Because it's that it just commands that. It's something that it needs to happen, because I just can't rate it the way it is. If I rated it right now the way it is, I would say I didn't like it because it was very convoluted and weird and too much of the 60s. But I think it's more than that. I think there's so much more to this movie than that. And I wouldn't want to do that. I feel like I'm going to end up rating it like a 7 or something, or maybe even higher.
Lee Marvin storming down that corridor is freaking terrifying. That's at least worth a 3 out of freaking 10.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
My God. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at right now, folks. Please don't look at that as like sort of any indication as like whether you should watch the film. I definitely think you should probably watch this film, and most of you have probably already seen it. And you're probably like, what the hell are these people talking about? But if you haven't seen it, check it out, find out for yourself, pay attention to it, because it's a whirlwind of crazy that takes some time to start to, get a foothold on. And I'm going to rewatch it, and maybe I'll give you a little update, down the road after I do that. But as it stands now, I'm going to give it that middle of the ground, a 5. I didn't like it, didn't dislike it sort of thing until I can really see it again.
Shocking.
That's 2 5s in a row for me.
Yeah, you're being harsh.
So 39 Steps was a real 5. This one's, I don't consider a real 5. I'm just giving it a 5 just because I have to be middle of the road because I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with it. Like, I really need to watch it again.
I feel like it deserves a lot more credit for the artistic integrity of it, because they did some amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. They really did. And if it ended up being that it was all a dream, my God, fucking mind blown. Inception, bug off. This is brilliant.
I don't think it's a dream, though. I really don't. Like, I look at this film.
No, but then again, that's possibly the beauty of it, is that you don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way to say one way or the other if it's real or not. And maybe that's the beauty of it.
Maybe. I don't know. I say it's not a dream, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could be. There's no telling at this point. I'd have to do some research, see if the filmmakers have ever talked about it in that way, or possibly even read the book and see what the book is all about. Wonder how different it is. Also wondering now if the remake Point Blank is adapted from the book or the film.
It seems like it's very different.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not really sure. But we'll see. I've watched pieces of it, I would say, but that didn't really tell me anything about the movie, the stuff that I have seen. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to dive into that a little bit more. Carlos, thank you so much for suggesting the film. We appreciate it, and we had a fun, weird, crazy time taking a look at it. It's different. I personally just don't think that I would call it a noir. I wouldn't call it a neo noir. I would definitely call it a action thriller sort of film, heist movie, even even though there's no.
See, that's very interesting, because an awful lot of people will call it a film noir.
Yeah, and I see why. Like, I totally get.
I see why, because it's kind of like a genre of crime film. It's got cynicism. Mm-hmm. It's got, moral ambiguity. It's got false women. It's got murder. It's got treachery. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't look or feel like a noir film.
Yeah, definitely not until the end for me does it feel noir.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few moments in the film. A little bit at the beginning, the jealousy factor with the wife and that sort of thing, and the double cross. Mm-hmm. And there's certain little things that sort of have a little bit of a noir feel. But then when you get to the end and you've got the shadows and just the pace, the style of the movie really changes in that end movie, in that end scene. And that really felt like this could be a noir film. Like, it even felt like The Third Man a little bit, like just the look, just certain little things. But overall, this is very 60s kind of film. It has more psychedelic aspects to it, I think, or at least they overpower any sort of noir film that I feel. Yeah. But I get it. I do get it. There you guys go. We got would you say, Carly, a 7?
Yeah.
7 and a 5, which is, again, just a rough 5. Just so I can review it, and I'll circle back around with you guys and see where we're at with that once I get to see it again. But if you haven't seen it, watch it. If we're wrong about it, if we don't get it, if we're just, horrible film watchers or whatever or at least me, because Carly gave it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what we got wrong, what we don't
To be
understand.
fair, I was very close to giving it an 8.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I was hovering between 7 and 8 because, again, I appreciate the magnitude of what they were doing.
Right.
And that kind of overpowers a lot of different things about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get that. I've been that way with certain films that we've covered as well. And I just, again, you don't necessarily have to really like a movie personally in order to respect the storytelling or what they're doing. And that's, it's the beauty of subjectiveness and art, really. So I'm all for that. All right, guys, there it is. That's Point Blank from 1967, suggested to us by Carlos Estevan. Thank you so much for, sending us a message and suggesting the film. Hopefully we didn't stomp all over, your film.
Well, I didn't. Jason might have.
Well, I hope not. I mean, again, like I said, I think it's one of those films that it definitely demands another viewing from me. I can see some great stuff in there. I just want to pay attention to it on a deeper level, connect with it. Because I really think that it calls for that. But again, thank you so much for suggesting the film. We want to hear more suggestions, what else you guys think is, you consider noir or something you think that we, should cover or you want us to cover, because we're going to either be wrong about it or, or maybe agree with you. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Carly. Good talking with you again. All right, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
He's looking at you, kid.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Speakeasy Noircast. Make sure to visit our website, resurrectionfilms.net, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, The Dark Side of Acting Up, available now on Amazon, or you can check out one of our films available on Amazon Prime.